what's up, guys? Sports Dad here. I'm here with Jim Brown. This is my guy, the athletic director at Madison High School. And he's going to talk a little bit about, his process and his son, about the recruiting process. Jim, man, tell us a little bit about your son, man. Talk about it.
Well, Austin, he was offered in 8th grade by Akron University. He's a senior now, so that was going back several years. Since then, he's picked up, I think, a total of 7 Division I offers, and I think he has one D2 offer as well. But things have kind of slowed down a bit, being that he's a quarterback, and in most schools, they're only offering 1, maybe 2 tops, and some of them aren't even offering any quarterbacks if they feel like they have several quarterbacks in the network. So sometimes, it's a tough position because they got to be right. Like I was telling you earlier, with the offensive coordinator, if he chooses wrong and he's an offensive coordinator with his quarterback, he risks losing his job. So we're kind of just sitting tight right now and just grinding it out to the end and hoping that when the season's over and everything kind of shakes out at the college level with the teams and coaches and players transferring and all that, we're hoping that some other opportunities maybe pop up, closer to December and the first signing day.
Yeah. So earlier you was saying that I asked you how the recruiting process works, and you was just getting ready to say like you really don't know how it works. What's your feedback on it? And talk up a little bit for me.
Yeah, I've talked to several coaches and trying to get a better understanding of it, not just because of my son, just because I'm an athletic director and I like to give people good advice. I feel like, I want to be real good at my job.
Right.
And I want to be able to tell people, what I think and try to give good, sound decisions.
Yeah.
But honestly, at this point, it's so hard to really tell anybody other than, make sure you got good grades, make sure, your film's up to date, your huddle and all that, and you're sending out to all the coaches. Other than like the measurables, like being tall and being, having good weight on you and just being strong, as far as what I can see, a lot of times there's kids that aren't on teams that really have wins, but because they're a big kid, obviously a lineman, they're going to take kids that are 6'6", 6'7", and have the opportunity to put on some weight and get to like 300 pounds. But when you're at other positions, for instance, like quarterback, from what I found out with my own son, is they're really not looking for 6'1" guys. And my son has 41 wins. I mean, he's won 13-0 in Division I when he was at Catholic Central.
Wow.
And he's still sitting here not really having as many offers as he would like, committable offers. He has 7 offers that are Division I, but they're not committable. And honestly, I don't even know why they offer kids that they can't really take a commitment from, so that's kind of odd.
So what do you mean? So talk a little bit about that. So like, how does that work?
Well, they offer kids because, especially quarterback, a lot of times, like I was told by an Indiana recruiter that last year they had offered like 15 guys at quarterback, and not one of them committed to Indiana, so they were kind of stuck with that class, not having one. So this year they went out, and if you go on like 247 Sports, you see like they've offered a darn near 30 quarterbacks, and that's because last year they offered 15 and nobody committed there. So they feel like they have to offer several kids, but then what they do is they rank them. So if they have 10 kids that they offered, they're going to go in the in the war room and they're going to rank kids 1 through 10. So this guy's my 1 all the way down to 10, and they kind of go down a list. So if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commit elsewhere, then now they're on to 6, 7, 8, and then they kind of wait and see how they're. It's a chess match as far as quarterback goes. But like I was telling you with the other positions where they're maybe a lineman or linebackers or outside linebackers, they're taking 4 or 5 guys. They, there's a little bit more wiggle room because they're offering more. Quarterback position just a tricky position.
Wow, man. So it's possible for a college to offer a kid, but they can't necessarily commit.
Right. So they can offer you, but they don't have to take your commitment. Because once they take the commitment, especially at the Division I level, they're pretty much bound to that commitment unless they do some shady stuff. But yeah, I mean, unless you do something silly and get in some kind of trouble, then obviously they won't honor the commitment. But once you commit to them and they accept your commitment, yeah, you're good to go. But yeah, there's a lot of schools that they say, okay, coach, I'm ready to commit. Well, we're going to kind of wait. They won't take the commitment. So like I said, it's good for the schools, but it's bad for the kids, because someone like my kid who was offered a Division I scholarship in 8th grade and had, got several more after that, he can't commit to some of these schools because they're not taking his commitment. So like I said, it's kind of like a chess match. They have the extra signing now in December, where it used to be just February where you could sign. So the reason they made an additional signing in December is to kind of protect the schools, because a lot of schools in February weren't getting their kids and they were kind of stuck. So now they have the December signing, so they have that opportunity between December and February to fill spots they might not get in December. So it protects the schools, but it doesn't protect the kids, which I don't feel is right, because I don't think you should offer anyone unless you honor that commitment. So if you offer a kid, if that kid wants to commit, it should be a committable offer. So I'd like to see that. They make all these changes to benefit schools and universities, but I think that they should change that rule as far as offering kids, because it puts kids in a place where they think, hey, I'm ready to go, and they can't go there. So I think that should be changed.
Yeah, man. And you were talking about your son earlier. Like, I've seen him play, and to me, the dude is a flat-out beast. Guys, go look this guy up. Look him up on Huddle. Austin Brown, man. This guy is a flat-out beast. Got a freaking cannon. He can just flat-out play. He can run everything. He just literally dominates the game. And actually, he's one of the best quarterbacks, in my opinion, in Michigan. And I've seen, I'm on the football market and I'm watching. So, so hopefully these coaches, take a look at him or whatnot, and and he gets that offer. But what type of information or what type of advice you could give to that parent that want their child recruited, and to that young athlete that's coming up that would like to be recruited as well?
Well, the biggest thing to me, I've seen a lot of good athletes. We've had a lot of good athletes at my high school, but the problem is with some of those is the grades. So I always start in the classroom. If you're not taking care of your business in the classroom, and you don't have that GPA and those test scores, that's the first thing I talk about. Because everybody, once you get to Division I, everyone's fast, everyone's strong. Yeah. You got to have the grades to even be able to get to that level. But I mean, really, you got to get good film. You got to send it out to a lot of the coaches. Like a lot of the kids I've seen that, like I said, weren't having the best of years, but they were huge, and they were sending out their size, their information, their weight, their huddle to all these colleges and just tagging everybody on Twitter. They'll get it. I mean, the problem with sending emails is a lot of times they're getting thousands and thousands of emails. Right. But when you're sending it on Twitter, like you and I talked before, is you got to tag every coach, your position coach. So if you're a linebacker, you got to tag the linebacker coach. If you're a quarterback, you got to tag the quarterback coach. Because a lot of times the head coach doesn't have time for that, so you really got to get to the position coach at the college that you really feel like you can play at. I mean, you got to be realistic too. If you're a D2 player or a D3 player, you shouldn't be tagging a lot of D1 coaches. You should really try to gauge it towards the level and play that you're bound for. Because if you're just not, I mean, obviously size is a big thing. So if you're a 6-foot lineman and they're looking for someone 6'6", and you're trying to tag somebody at a D1 school, you probably should lower it to the D2, D3 schools.
Wow. That's good information, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Brown, man, we really appreciate you, man, and look forward to seeing more and more of your son, man, even at the next level too, man. So,
appreciate it. Yes,
sir, and hopefully we can have you back too, down the line or whatnot.
Anytime.
So, yeah, thanks for your information.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.